Hello, everyone. We are ready to start our webinar that is called Production Planning and Control in OneSea Drive, Benefits for Growing Companies. My name is Anna Lvovska, and I will be the host of today's webinar, even though the main people on the webinar will be the representatives of our development team talking about production module in OneSea Drive. To kick off the webinar, I will tell a little bit about the agenda that we'll have. First of all, I will tell a little bit about what OneSea International is and what the product OneSea Drive is. Then we'll have a very thorough session about production planning and control in the product. And of course, at the end of the webinar, we will have a Q&A session during which we will answer all of the questions that you proportion in the chat area. So please make sure that none of your questions are left behind. So, OneSea International, what is it? OneSea International is a division of OneSea Company that has been providing business digitalization tools for over 30 years, and our clients are more than 1 million companies. What type of businesses do we automate? Basically, you can name any. Here on this slide, you see what our clients are working, what types of businesses our clients have. And you see it covers basically everything you can think of. It's manufacturing, it's IT and telecom, it's finance, it's retail, it's transportation. We have got solutions to all of those for all of those companies. Right now, OneSea is translated into 20 languages. OneSea solutions are being used in 95 countries. We have got more than 7,700 partners around the world and more than 5 million users. So what is behind of this huge success? How did they achieve this success? Basically, the OneSea Enterprise Development Platform is the key of all of OneSea has all around the world. What is the development platform? This is a tool that gives our partners the possibility to develop their own solutions or to modify existing OneSea solutions 2 times faster than a general development possibility. That makes all of the solutions extremely flexible and the cost of implementation and maintenance quite low. What products do we have for the international markets? Of course, there is our platform that is exactly the tool to develop new things or to modify existing solutions. Then comes the OneSea ERP product, which is an ERP solution for medium and large enterprises. But today, we will be focusing most of all on OneSea Drive. OneSea Drive is a solution for small and medium enterprises, especially for those that are growing right now and need to implement modifications all of the time. It's right now the focus companies for us, focus clients for us will be production companies, wholesale and distribution companies, and companies working in services. You see on this slide that OneSea Drive covers all of the needs of those companies because we have got sales management, purchase management, service management, production management, etc. Today, we will be focusing on the production module OneSea Drive because there has been quite a lot of development in this part of the solution. And that's the moment where I stop talking and give the scene to OneSea Drive expert, Elena Konovalova, who will tell you thoroughly about what the production model is.
Thank you, Anna. Can you hear me well? Anna?
I can hear you really well, Elena.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us here today. Wait, something is wrong with my connection, sorry.
No worries, no worries. Take your time. It's quite important for us to get the information, so we'll wait a little bit.
Yeah, you know how it happens. In the most important moments, something goes wrong. So again, hi everyone. I hope you see my screen right now.
Yep.
Great. So today we're going to discuss production planning and control in OneSeeDrive. Let's go now. We'll start with a little bit of theory about what is production and production system, just to make sure that we are on the same ground and talk in the same term. We'll see what OneSeeDrive has to offer to our clients in the area of production management in general, but in detail, we'll go through production planning and control. And we want to give as much information as will be needed for you to work with production planning and control module on your own. Along the way, we'll pay special attention to how OneSeeDrive can be beneficial for a growing production company. So let's get started. I'm sorry, there are guys that have problems with the sound. Everything is okay, right? Good. So what is production? Production is defined as the step-by-step conversion of one form of a material into another through a process to create or enhance the utility of the product to the user. Here we see the key elements of production. Those are raw materials, the process, the production process, and the end result, the finished product that has some utility, useful qualities to our customer. And we produce these products within the confines of the production system, and we do it in a systemized and controlled manner. So this is production system is the activity where resources flow within a system. They are combined and transformed in a controlled manner to add value in accordance with the policies communicated by the management. So this is the place where automation of production processes may play a significant role. You may come across many different types of production systems, and here's one of the classification that is based on the qualities of the product range and product volume and production resources. Here we see project-based, job shop, batch, mass, and continuous types of production. We'll quickly go through their characteristics. So in project-based production, we have one-of-a-kind production output. It is usually large in scope, but it is one-time activity and it requires diverse labor workforce set. In a job shop production, there's a large variety of product design, which is based on customer specifications. Processes are very flexible, equipment is general purpose, and workforce is highly skilled. In the batch production, there's still a variety of products, but the volume is larger and equipment becomes more and more specialized. When we go to mass production, the volumes are very big, but the range of product is narrowing down and the labor workforce is generally not so much skilled as before. And last in our list, continuous production, where it is unique plants that are placed in a fixed sequence. The huge of output is the range of output is huge, and a very little labor force is needed. So they look like very different types of production. If we look from the one side, but on the other side, you see that they all share the same business components. Those are production resources, range of products, and the volume. Another classification, which is of a particular interest for us, which is based on type of relationship that there exists between the production company and the customer. There is a make to stock, assemble to order, and make to order types of environment. In make to stock environment, it is the production company that decides what to produce and which specification the product might have. Where the make to order type of environment is on the other side of the spectrum, here's the client decides what they want according to their own specification, and production companies offer the skills that they have. And somewhere in between assemble to order, where the production company offers a range of components and customer build their own product based on this components range. Again, they are different. I mean, those types of environment are different from one point of view, and similar in that we still have products and their specifications. And here, customer relationship also comes into play, and we need to manage that. So production management deals with decision-making related to production processes. It decides what to produce according to which specification, when, and at which cost. Here's the key areas for automation of production management, and they are about process and product and process design, production planning and control, material management, and cost management. And you see that production planning and control, material and cost management, they're kind of placed in a sequence, but in reality, they very interrelated and happen pretty much simultaneously. Let's have a look at what OneSeeDrive has to offer in the area of production management. At the top, you see all the settings and catalogs that are used to store all the reference information that we might need to register business transactions and analyze results. Then goes the Workcenter workplace, where we register Workcenter's availability, production resources availability to be exact, production planning and control workplace. There are also tools for material management, work in progress management, and production and cost accounting. And underlies all that, monitoring and control tools that are mainly presented by reports and different status filters applied to different types of transactions. Let's go to OneSeeDrive and see where it is placed. So here's OneSeeDrive, and if we begin from settings, that they can be found in the settings menu. There's no surprise in here. In the accounting settings group, you see the settings for the different module of OneSeeDrive. So you go there and see what settings fit to your business. All related to company information can be found in the company menu. And there is a company details, accounting policy, primary chart of accounts, and all the rest. But the brain and the heart of the production is in the production menu. In the center, you see the list of catalogs that we use to store the reference information that we use. On the left, there's a production group where we list the documents that are used to register production-related transactions, the planning tools, and on the left, the reports that we use for monitoring and control purposes. Let's go back to our diagram. So the topic of our today's webinar is production planning and control workplace. But from this diagram, we see that there's a lot to be done before we can actually start planning. And that our settings must be done, catalogs filled and in place, Workcenter availability must be registered, as well as production orders. So in short, there's a lot to be done. And to make our task easier, we prepared a step-by-step instruction, and we will go through it today. So there are 11 steps, and in the first row, you see the steps that you will probably go through only once, because They contain very general settings that change very rarely. In the middle, you see steps that relate to product and process design, to products, production resources, and bills of material. And the last row are the steps that you will go through on a daily basis. To make our journey easier, we'll concentrate on the business case, which you will find in demo version of OneSeaDrive. So we will not repeat unnecessary data in here, just the key points that we talk about. Imaginary production company, Swift Production, that makes furniture, tables and chairs to be exact. And the bill of materials for these products contain semi-finished components as well as purchase components. And here on the screen, you see the bill of material for the table. It consists of 4 components there in blue, and 3 of them, you see they have own structure. Those are semi-finished components. And also, when we plan and work with operations to produce finished goods and components, semi-finished components are planned together with the finished product. What it means that if we produce table and there's only one operation table assembling, but it requires 3 components that before can be consumed, that can become part of the table, they need to be produced, then we analyze those semi-components at the same time as we analyze the plan for tables. So we plan them all together. And let's suggest that we have several orders placed by our customers. So the first step is about general settings. And we'll cover inventory settings and production settings. In inventory settings, and they can be found following the route up here: settings, accounting settings, purchases warehouse module. Here you might choose many options, but of a particular interest, usually inventory count by batches, by variants, and serial numbers. Once you use these options, you can immediately see them in catalogs and in business documents. If you do not need some of those options, just do not select them. They are always available to you. Select them when there is a business need for that kind of functionality. Next is production settings. We see that here we enable production subsystem, and that makes production menu available to us. And to be able to do production planning, we'll need all presented here options selected, as well as planning horizon must be assigned. And that means that planning horizon defines how far into the future our production schedule might go. That's it for the general settings. Next are work schedules. Here are 3 items: business calendar, work schedule, and company work schedule. Business calendar, it is it stores information about working days as well as holidays, and those are usually fixed on a legislative level of your country. And they can be used as a basis for all the work schedules that you use in the company. And the work schedules used in the company can be based on either business calendar, filling template, or the combination of those. So when you use the filling table, you need, filling template, you need to define the beginning, the break, and the end of the working day. And then save the schedule and define it to company as company work schedule. Here we see the company card for Swift Production and the work schedule attribute. Why is it needed in here? In your company, there might be some operations for which you do not want to register any resources. You just know that whenever you need to complete a certain operation, there's enough resources for it. So we do not trace production resources, but we still need to plan this kind of operations. And in this case, a company schedule will be used by default. Let's go to OnceyDrive and try to set a company schedule. We go to company menu, company details, and here we see main schedule defined for Swift production. And if we want to change it, nothing happens. It is because attribute is protected from the sudden change, and we need to allow editing attributes beforehand. So we check and allow editing, and now the work schedule attribute is available for us for editing. And for example, we select a new schedule, press save and close, and we are done with this step. Next step is production departments. Those are 2 iterations here. If we talk about production departments and small and growing businesses, so probably you might, one production department is enough for your business, but if you grow and you want to split responsibility and resources, you just add another production department, assign it to production resources, and using business documents. Eventually, production departments are used in to plan production, to register work in progress, completion on production, to accumulate, allocate, and finally analyze production costs. One of the key attributes that we see in production catalog is planning interval. It is the planning interval. It is how planning horizon, will be split for us for planning purposes, and on these intervals we will place our operations. These are the lists. This is the list of planning intervals available for OnceyDrive users. And how to define planning interval? This process is a compromise between flexibility, desirable levels of flexibility, precision, and efficiency. Let's see what I mean by that. Suggest we need to plan production that consists of 4 consecutive operations, and each of them takes 2 hours. If our planning interval is 1 hour, it means that each operation will take 2 planning intervals, and 4 operations can be placed back to back and may be fit in 1 day. But we see if something goes wrong, that we will not be able to meet the deadlines. So we're very precise, we are very effective, but there's the risk of not hitting the deadline. And then the second option, the planning interval is 1 day. So we have a lot of flexibility. We might decide at what time of the day we complete the operation, but the downside of it is that one operation can be placed on at least 1 planning interval. And the 4 operations, they stretch to 4 days in times. So we are very flexible, but we can't say that we are very precise and very efficient. And there may be many other variants of how to choose planning intervals and the consequences of those choices. There is no right or wrong answer to what the planning interval must be like. It depends on each particular circumstances. And next step is cost accounting setting. And you might ask a valid question, why we need cost accounting settings when we talk about production planning and control. And the thing is that in OnceyDrive, we plan operations with the help of work in progress documents. It's similar like when we sell products, we use sales orders. So for each production operation, there's work in progress document, and we use it not only to plan operations, but also to register costs related to it, as well as operation completeness. And costs can be of two types: costs of direct materials and manufacturing overheads. And all the settings we're going to quickly discuss, they concern manufacturing overheads. So we need to select manufacturing overheads allocation method in accounting policy. Then we need to make sure that manufacturing overheads account is present in primary chart of accounts. And this is the account that has the type manufacturing overheads. It is used to register production overhead costs and in work in progress documents and in month-end closing procedures. Then we need to set at least one cost driver, which is in fact allocation based for manufacturing overheads. It is used in cost pools, work in progress documents, month-end closure procedure. And cost pool, they group costs that have the same cost driver. So you see that cost pool has that cost driver attribute, and it can cost pool used in all accounting related procedures and transactions. The final item in our list for cost accounting setting is manufacturing overheads rate. This is the rate at which we accumulate and allocate manufacturing overheads to operation. On the screen, you see that production department has a cost driver machine time in minutes, and per each minute, we assign 30 € of manufacturing overheads. If you have different rates for different departments, then you define them. Different cost drivers, you define them. Different GL accounts, again, you assign it as appropriate for your business. Just want to know that probably one cost pool, one cost driver, one GL account is enough for your business. But if you're, according to your company's accounting policy, you must have diverse settings for cost accounting. They must be made like in this document. This is all for the general settings, and we go to product and process design tools. Of course, the design of the product itself and the process design, they are outside of scope of OneSeeDrive, but in OneSeeDrive, we register all the finalized details, all the information that we might need in our day-to-day transactions. And first, let's discuss products catalog. In OneSeeDrive, you have a lot of different functional options that you might useful for your specific type of business. Most of them you will find in settings. And for example, before that, we discussed how to switch on the options for inventory accounting by batches, variants, and serial numbers. As soon as you selected them, they are available on the product card. And in products catalog, if we talk about production planning, we keep a list of produced goods as well as materials and semi-finished components. On additional data tab, you will see replenishment settings that are important to analyze demand in stock and generate orders for stock replenishment. Those are replenishment methods, period, supply and default bill of material. And there are a pretty long list of additional options that are also available to you, and you might find them useful as well. Those are sales prices and purchase prices catalogs, your order point settings. You might have you might use attached files, tools, and additional attributes. Let you create as many attributes, customized attributes as you need, and you might use them in reports to analyze data. Let's go to OneSeeDrive and see at the products catalog of Swift Production. We go to Production, Products Catalog. Here we see all items in here, components, finished products, and purchased components are all mixed together. So we organize them, into 3 nice folders for the convenience of the user. Just to point out, then when we create folders in products catalog, this is for user convenience only. System does not analyze this data. They have, system has its own differentiation tools for that. But here we are, the finished products that have a look at it, just as we see on our slides. Next step is production resources. And in OneStreetDrive, we offer Workcenter Workplace. And here you see Workcenter types and work centers that are placed on the upper part of the tool. In production planning, we might plan either on Workcenter type level or on Workcenter level. If we want to plan Workcenter types, they group production resources with similar characteristics. And if we see that they are assigned to a specific production department, and to plan them, we must define work schedule and their capacity. And we plan on the Workcenter type level when it is not important for us which work center in particular will do this or that operation. But if this information is important to us, we select this checkbox planning on the Workcenter level, then these attributes will migrate to the Workcenter card. And work centers, those are production units that complete operations. And they are assigned to a Workcenter type, and Workcenter's work schedule and capacity is also defined for the planning purposes here. The last item is operations catalog. Here we'll store information about technological operations. They are used on bills of material and work in progress documents. And if we look at the operations card, we see that this is the mixture of accounting data and production data. Here's the cost pool and standard workload in cost drivers used for accounting purposes, and standard time, time units, and Workcenter type. These attributes are used in planning. And again, we already mentioned earlier that operation can have Workcenter type empty. This means that company, we suggest and that company have enough resources to complete this operation in any time, in any place. So we do not need to plan and assign this operation to any particular work center. And at this time, in this case, company work schedule will be applied to plan this kind of operation. Step 7, bills of material. Bills of material in OneStreetDrive is how system differentiate between products, finished products, semi-finished products, and components. Here we store details about how finished product is produced. Attributes like status and validity period might be of a particular interest for a growing company and company with a wide range of products, because here this is how we manage bills of materials through their statuses and validity periods. There's also one attribute that is key for production planning. This is use routing. And when we select this checkbox, routing tab is available to us. And here we specify the process map, so to say, the sequence of the operations that must be followed, as well as standard time and workload for operation. Those are pre-filled from operations catalog, but you may adjust and correct them manually if necessary. On the components tab, we see components that are consumed to produce the finished product. And here we see information and define at which operation each material, each component will be used. And components can be either purchased, so we receive inventory from the stock, or produced. And this means that in our case, for example, on this slide, you see that we need glass of table tempered, but before we can use it to produce base of dry table, we need to produce it according to this specification. So this is how OneSeaDrive differentiates between purchase components or components that we can receive from the warehouse, from stock, as opposed to components that we must produce. Let's go to OneSeaDrive and have a look at bills of materials of Swift production. We go to production menu and go to bills of material. So here we are.
Helena, I'm
Yes?
sorry, you should start sharing the screen of OneSeaDrive, because right now we're still seeing the presentation.
Have you seen it before?
Nope. We were always seeing the presentation and the screenshots with them.
Okay.
In order to do that, you should, stop sharing and start sharing OneSeaDrive.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. Or you can just straightforward share the whole screen, and then you could, switch between the presentation and OneSeaDrive.
I don't have share all screens.
No, you just
Okay,
share screen.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Anna, thank you very much, because all this time I was pretty sure that I was showing you what to do.
Actually, the presentation was still very interesting, so no worries. Now we get to see the actual demo of the product.
Thank you.
So.
And in case if you expect that I see the messages, unfortunately, I cannot concentrate on presentation and messages as well.
No
So
worries. We will answer all of the questions at the end of the session.
Okay, so please be free to interrupt me anytime there's some confusion.
We will. No worries. Go on with the
Okay.
presentation. Thank you so much.
So what I was showing to you is that we need to go to production and see bills of material. And here we see the list of bills of material and their statuses and validity periods. And you see that validity period might not be signed. That means that we always use this bill of material, so it does not have any expiration date. And if we are working on the bill of material, it has still a status open. It means that we're just getting ready, getting it done, and we're not ready to use it in production yet. So that's it for the bill of material. And let's get back to presentation. We're getting closer to production planning, and next step is to register work centers availability. And here we will discuss work center workplace. We've seen it before, how to set availability and adjust it manually if needed. So here's the workplace, and in the bottom part, we might define, and it is where we define work center availability. So we select the period, we use fill in with work schedule button, and OneSeaDrive pre-fills data from the calendar that we see how to assign to work center types and individual work centers. And if we need to correct the pre-filled data, we just double click, edit the information, and save the changes. And here we see that manual adjustments are shown in bold face type and have a special status icon. Let's go to OneSeaDrive, and I hope that this time you see that. We go to production and work center workplace. If we select work center type, we see related work centers on the right and availability of those below. For 2nd of September, we make manual adjustments and system immediately saw that and notified us with special status. So we go through availability, and that suggests that we have a new type of equipment and we do not want to assign any work schedule for them. Of course, when we try to fill it with schedule, there's an error message that's telling us that there is no work schedule that system can use for that. So we either define the work schedule in the work center type or work center, or use it manually. So you have options here as well. Back to our presentation. This is it for the work center's availability and step 9, production orders. A little bit earlier, we talked about different environments for production companies, and those are make to stock or make to order. And here's the step where this difference come into place. So we either make production orders based on sales orders, or we immediately register sales orders according to some company plans and policies. Let's see what sales order might contain produced goods as well as purchased goods. And when the product must be produced, we see bill of material in here, and also replenishment method that we saw on a product's card is analyzed here. And we can generate production order from sales order using generate button, select production order. Once you drive analyzes what products out of list of products in sales order, which of them must be produced, and fill production order with these details. And on the component tabs, all the components from the bill of material of finished products, they are filled in here. And again, you see that there are 3 components that must be produced. And we remember, I hope now, that when we are going to plan this production order, we're planning finished products as well as those required components. A production order has other settings that are influencing production planning and control procedures. There is a life cycle status, priority level, and you might create as many priority levels as needed. So you just assign the numeric value to each priority. And start and due date. Another attribute which is important to us is including production planning. It means that this production order will be included in the planning tool, and we are not going to plan it manually. Also want to know that only production orders with status in progress are eligible for production planning tool. So if you don't find the production order, when you plan, just make sure you check the life cycle status. Let's go to the Swift production database. Now, first let's go to the sales module and see how many sales orders are in there. So there are 5 sales orders, and I know that one of them we just received. So we can try to generate production order from here. Yes, and you see the data is pre-filled, as well as components required. This checkbox is set automatically because we made the requirement settings in the settings tab. But the lifecycle status is open. So let us select the correct department. When we post and close this production order, let's have a look at it at the list of production orders. Here it is. We have 4 production orders in progress, and one of them in the status open, And again, it is not eligible for production planning yet. And production planning is what we're going to talk about next. So we see we've come a long way to come to this point. And I hope that you noticed that all the information that we've needed nicely fell into place when we need these all that details. And production planning itself is done in control and production planning and control workplace. And what in general happens, and when we receive production order, it has finished products, and those finished products have bill of materials and might include semi-finished components that contain bill of materials as well, and so on. And to produce those finished products and semi-finished components, we need to perform some production operations. So to register those operations, we use work in progress document. And this is the unit, the basic unit which we use in production to generate production schedule. So let's see at it in more detail. This is how production planning and control tool looks. Here we see the queue of production orders, the filters pane, and only production orders with status in progress are shown here. The sequence in which they are placed one after another, it is exactly how OneC will process them during planning procedure. And for example, we want to change the position of order number 4 in the queue. We might either use this priority status of the order, use up and down buttons to move it up and down the curve, or the combination of those tools. And we'll also discuss that we need to generate work in progress documents that are containing operations that we need to produce. So when we select action, generate work in progress, a special tools is open to us. Here, OneC analyzes finished products and what operations there is to make to complete the product, what components are needed, and whether or not we need to complete another operations to produce those components. I hope I didn't confuse you, but the thing is that here we list all production operations that are required to produce the finished product. And we have options to select all of those operations for processing at once. But if there are some operations that we do not need to perform at the moment, for example, we know that we have base of table at the warehouse because a previous order was canceled. We just clear these buttons, press generate, and then system analyzes the data and creates work in progress document for each transaction. And these are the documents that are the units which are actually planned. And to plan, we use actual action schedule option. We might select several production orders. In this case, we will immediately see the setting window where you may choose the mode in which the scheduling will be done. Or we might select, or we may select a single production order. And in this case, production schedule tool for the order will be opened. And here we see the summary about the order and the list of operations related with to this order. When we press generate, we see the start date and due date will be filled. And this tool can be used to generate preliminary schedules. So say until we say, so we save, we might generate the schedule, have a look at it, and if we don't like it, we just don't save it. And if everything is okay, we save it. So just to let you know that this tool can be used to generate preliminary schedules. And once we scheduled all that we wanted, we might go to production reports, production schedule, and see the Gantt chart for planned operations. You see that here exactly the work centers and work center types which are planned for this or that operation. And if we plan on a work center type level, we see each work center in production schedule. And if we plan on the work center type, that only type is shown in production schedule without any detailization concerning work centers. Let's have a look at how production planning is done for Swift production. We go to production planning group and select production and planning and control tool. Here we see production orders, and one of them has this status, which if we look at the filter panel means that order needs generating work in progress documents. So we added a new order, but work in progress documents have not been generated yet. Let's have a look at the order. Here it is. And go to action and generate work in progress. So what we see is again the list of all required operations for two products, table and chair. And we select all of them. And again, we might clear checkbox and press generate. We see work in progress documents. And let's have a look at what it is. So work in progress document, again, it is the combination of accounting data as well as planning data. So the status, the department where this operation is completed, order, product, bill of material. On operations tab, we see the exact operations that must be completed, the quantity, the standard time, standard workload rate, total and actual workloads. Those are all accounting data. They are pre-filled automatically as long as we filled all the necessary accounting information before. And on the components tab, what is just operation. Yeah, so what's this? Sorry about that. Let's make another choice. Yeah, it's more suitable. And a components tab, we see components that are required on this operation. And once let's update. Oh, and so we were working with the production order number 4. I was confused a little bit for a second. And here we see that status icon changed. And if we look at the filter pane, it means that scheduling work in progress is required. We will select only this one production order and go to schedule option, and the window opens again with the summary and operation tab. Here we see that start date and end date are not yet completed. So we press generate. We'll use default options. And start date and due dates are filled. So we go to Gantt chart to see how it goes. Here it is, what takes a long time. And we need to save changes if we are happy with the results. So we save changes. And go to summary, we see that operation will take 73 hours and there is no delay yet. And hopefully there will not be any delay. So the last item we want to see is production schedule. Here it is. Here's how our work centers are employed. And again, as we've seen, here's the work center level planning, and this is work center type level planning. So this is it for production planning, and the last step on our list is production control. But we've seen most of the tools already. Those are production statuses. You might quickly, you may quickly filter production orders using this filter pane. You might select those orders that need work in progress generation, scheduling, that are overdue, completed. On the production order, in the production schedule for order tool, we will see if there is the summary for the order and to see if there is any delay or the total duration, and we've seen that too. And we can check operations details. And the last report we are going to discuss, and we haven't seen it yet, this is work center availability, which let us analyze what resources are available to us and which of them we actually employ during production planning. Let's go to Swift production database and have a look at that. So first, the production planning and control tool. Those are the filters we were talking about. Overdue, yeah, a couple of the orders are overdue. And if we go to action schedule, we will see the sum. There's a huge delay in here. And to analyze work centers availability, we select work center availabilities report. And here we see work centers, if we plan on a work center level, those data is, you see, separated from work center type level. And here we see totals available, of time available and actually used to plan operations. So we see that there's a lot of spare capacity, and Swift production management team has a lot to think about. So this was the last step in our production planning and control journey. And if you want to read in more detail about the process, about catalogs and documents and workplaces, or want to go through example in more details, please go to OneCI support. There's a OneCDrive user manual there that is prepared with great care and detail. And let's wrap it up. So we talked about what production is and what production types are. And we talk about environment types. But the one thing which is important to pay attention to is, no matter what diversity of businesses is they all have the same foundation elements or building blocks, and those are resources they use to produce finished products, and they have bills of materials where we store where they have store specifications as how to produce. We all use the same workplaces to plan and register resources. So here we see that make to stock environment, assemble to order environment, and make to order environment, they all use the same tools, because in the core, the production process has the same elements. And today we discussed in detail product and process design and production planning and control. I thank you for your attention, and I give word to the product owner of OneCDrive, Vasily Politov.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, everyone.
Yes, sure, we
Thank
hear you.
you. Thank you very much, Helena. My name is Vasily. We are working on OneCDrive product. Actually, I haven't prepared slides. I think all of you are already a little tired, and I just like to add a few words. This year, we are developing functionality for production automation. We've previously released multi-stage production support and cost accounting, and now you just met new opportunities for production planning and control. Now we can say that OneC-Drive is a solid enterprise resource planning system, is a competitive solution which helps us and our partners to develop businesses in new regions. Right now, product is available in 8 languages: English, German, Turkish, Polish, Russian, Romanian, Spanish, as well as Latin American Spanish. Also, we already have 3 local versions of OneC-Drive product for Turkey, Poland, and Germany. And these countries, we already have the first customers and projects for production management functionality. And within a year, we are going to release at least 5 more local versions. These versions are continuously supported by and developed by our partners and us. So now we offer our customers unique opportunity to take advantages of multiple languages, multiple accounting currencies and companies in a single information system within a common object model. Combined with the unmatched platform flexibility, this allows for faster development and deployment in production companies than other solutions. At the same time, production management continues to be a core area for OneC-Drive. This year, we are going to finalize material resource planning and profit estimation tools for production. Also, we are improving core functionality for production planning and control according to requests of our partners and customers. This functionality should also serve a solid solution for creating more specific industry and local solution within the production area. So if you have any ideas, please contact us. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Vasily, thank you so much for this brief but very informative speech. So before we actually get to Q&A session, I would like to briefly sum up everything that was being said. Elena, thank you so much once again. That was an amazing presentation and demonstration of the new possibilities of production model of OneC-Drive. So OneC-Drive is a comprehensive ERP solution for growing businesses. It supports various types of production of really different complexities. It has got interface in 8 languages, and it's fully provides fully functional management for all the production life cycle. In order to know more about OneC-Drive solution, you can try out the demo that's available on the website. You see the link right now on the screen, and after the webinar you will receive this presentation, so you will have all the links available for you. You can have a look at the user guide that's available on our support portal. And of course, in order to learn more about the production model itself, learn more about the use case that Irina was talking about, you can contact me. You have got my email on the screen, and we will provide you with the use case and the demo database to learn with it, to play around with it a little bit. So thank you so much for your attention. Now we finally got to the Q&A session. At this moment, I stop sharing the screen. I have got all of your questions written down, and we will start answering those now. So at the very beginning of the webinar, Ali was asking us how can we attach documents like Excel, MS Word, or a picture of any format to a specific document in OneC-Drive? If it is possible, and if it's possible, how to do that?
Of course, there is an option for do this, and I think we can share the information from our support portal regarding this functionality with you after this session.
Okay. Great, thank you. So, Ali, we will send you just a link to the support portal where all the information is. After that, Dan Thompson was asking if Drive supports first in, first out in production for raw materials.
This functionality is under development right now.
So Dan, right now, no, but we're working on that. Then Zahar.
Exactly. Yeah, this is the part of accounting. Yes, we see huge deals of the questions that concern accounting part of production, which is outside of scope of this presentation, but of course we'll try to answer.
Zahar Knyazev was asking how to plan the costs with work in progress document. As he knows, work in progress only reflects the fact of operation completion. So costs.
Well, I hope we've seen how. This is exactly what we demonstrated. I just.
The question was put in the beginning of demonstration. So Zahar, please, if you still have this question, write it down in the chat. If we have already answered it during the demonstration, then that's great. Next question from Helena. How to distribute additional costs in the production for products? For example, transportation, workers' wages, electricity, etc.
Yes, Helena, this is what I was talking about, that this is all about cost accounting. And of course, we are not ready to show you how to do it on the spot. We'll reply you in email.
So it is possible, right? Am I right in understanding you, Helena?
Yes, of course, it depends. Again, it depends on accounting policy, the allocation method you use, but we'll explain how to do it once you drive.
So maybe, Helena, you could email me with details of your question for us to give you a detailed answer. Okay. Next question was from Dan again. Is it possible to add a service as a material to bill of materials?
And Dan, can you please clarify, you want a service as a finished product?
Then there is a clarification, because Drive doesn't support products without counting as water, nails, etc. So they use service for them and need them in bill of materials.
Anna, could you please clarify, because I cannot find the comments of Dan in the chat. And
I will send that, no worries, I will just forward it to all panelists right now, and you'll see my message. Okay, so here it is.
products without counting as water, nails, etc. Probably if they're not counted, that how can, so we need more details about the process, because it looks like they are manufacturing overheads, because you cannot plan what you can't count, right? So Dan, probably you can send us your scenario, your business case, and we will explain in more detail what can be done in Once You Drive.
Okay, so Dan, please send me some more details about your use case, and we will just maybe schedule a call and talk about that in details. Then comes the question from Victoria. If we have a functionality for replanning, if someone got sick, if a person is our work center. Okay.
Yeah, so what you have to do is to adjust the work center availability and to replan. We've seen this settings window that is shown, and we use it by default. But if you look at the, so when you press planning, there is a settings window, and one of the options is to reschedule. So you make adjustment to work center availability, and you reschedule all the orders that require rescheduling.
I'm not sure if you hear me right now, because I've got some difficulties with Zoom. It's somehow stopped working. So there is
we've heard the question, Anna. We've heard the question
That's great.
about how
That's
to do
great.
the scheduling, and I answered it.
Great.
Hopefully, I was heard.
Yeah, I hear you really nicely. And then there is one more question from Victoria again. There's a question about capacity and duration. If your duration is more than 1 day and we can produce only the batch.
You mean the duration of the operation, probably. So remember when I compared different options for planning interval. So there's the planning interval. It is the average, usually it is the average time for completing operation in one department. And if operation takes several of those intervals, you just place them on several intervals. So it is done like that.
Thank you very much for your answer. I think that there are no more questions. If there are some more questions, please write them down in the chat area.